Hello, and this is just a video to, well, explain my thoughts on the new Transformers Siege War for Cybertron line. Now, this line had so much potential, and if you've been following Transformers recently, you'll know that the quality of Transformers figures has been taking a drastic decline. The power of the primes weren't that great. Titan's Return, the quality of the plastic was awful. Now, I'll just bring in a few of them here. Here's Cog. So Cog is a deluxe figure. He costs about £20, give or take a little bit, you know, either way. He costs roughly about £20. Now, deluxe figures 10-15 years ago, they'd have cost you about £10, so about half the price that you're paying now. And their quality was far superior, far superior. Now, the only problem I have with Cog is a few QC issues, like, just bear with me. I've not got my tripod set up for this video. I am just going on a bit of a rant here. But if I get the accessories out, it comes with two of these guns here, and yeah, he holds them, but they fall out of his hand. The peg, it's a 5mm peg, but there's something wrong with his hands and he doesn't hold them, and these guns don't peg in very securely. Now, that's a very minor QC issue with this particular figure. The plastic quality has improved slightly, I would say. They feel a little bit more solid, these Siege Transformer figures. But like I said, there are still some very minor QC issues here with Cog. Now, another thing that I kind of had an issue with is Sideswipe. I'm going in order from least problematic to most problematic. So the other issue I had was with Sideswipe. Now, I will actually just cut the video, because I've got him in vehicle mode at the moment. I will cut the video and go to him in robot mode. Okay, so I've got Sideswipe in his robot mode now. One thing I did want to mention about Cog, and quite a lot of the line, is that we've still got these... show you here. I'm trying to do this with one hand. I probably should have set up the tripod, but I didn't. I just wanted to get my feelings about these out of the way now, really. We've still got the clipped-on wheels for the majority of the figures. There's one or two that do have them pinned on, but for the majority, they're still this cheap, clipped-on trash. And basically, they don't roll as well with these clipped-on wheels. So that is still a thing. They haven't got rid of that. To be fair, Cog is supposed to do that. It's not quite as bad as that. He's not falling apart. He is a weaponizer, so he is supposed to come apart at the torso like that. But yeah, that's Cog. Now, the problem I had with Sideswipe is that when I got him out of the box, it's actually a problem I've had twice. This, with Sideswipe, it was fixable, but with the figure in question, which I'll talk about in a bit, there was no way I could fix it. So the problem I had, I got this guy out of the box. Now, you can see that his joints here at the thigh, they go forward like this and back and so on. But when I got him out of the box, his thighs would not go forward or back. And I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting. I'm surprised they don't do that. Maybe they're not supposed to. So I checked another video, and I realised that the articulation specifies that they do go forwards and back. So I thought, right, what could be the problem? And then I kind of realised this little panel here, this black panel, is actually glued on. You might not be able to see it, but it's glued on. So I had to prise that off and take the leg sections out, which were completely glued solid into this piece here, and I had to be very careful because it was kind of bending the plastic a bit. But once I got that piece off, it did snap the peg, actually, to be fair, that was going into here to get that off, because the amount of glue that they'd put on was ridiculous, and it had obviously seeped through into those mushroom peg joints that hold the thighs on there. And it had glued them in solid into place, so they just would not go forwards and backwards. Now, I managed to get them out. I managed to file them down a little bit, and eventually get them to prise apart. And now they do work. And then I just glued this cover piece back on here, and it didn't quite go on as flush as I'd hoped. And there was a lot of glue residue just in that little. I don't know if you can see that hole, that crack there. There was a little bit of glue residue, so I just went over that with a very fine brush and a bit of black acrylic paint, so you couldn't tell that that was glue. But yeah, not great. So I did order another Sideswipe. I've kept that boxed. I don't know whether the same problem will happen with that. I'm assuming it's just this one figure, and that's what I was hoping. But then today. And I can't actually show you the figure because it was I received Skytread, aka Flywheels, you know, whatever you want to call him, and he had exactly the same problem. But it was worse. He'd got a little cover plate like this at the bottom of his legs, which are like in a brown colour, and his left leg moved up and down perfectly, you know, like it's supposed to. But his right leg, this leg on Skytread, again, wouldn't budge. It just was glued solid. And the amount of glue, I mean, the glue was actually seeping out of the side here, just in here on Skytread. The amount of glue that they'd put on it, and then boxed it up and packaged it up, it obviously set and held that in place, and there was just no way without really damaging something that I could get that open. So I've got that boxed up and ready to send back from the seller that I got that from. And furthermore, I paid more than I should have as well. Like, I paid a bit over than what you'd expect to pay for these, because Transformers are quite hard to come by in the UK as it is. That, you know, they're not readily available in the shops like you lucky fellas and, you know, so on in the States. You guys in the States get a lot more Transformers than we do in the UK. But anyway, that's a side issue. So the majority of the figures, this one here, this Sideswipe, actually came from Kapow Toys, which is a UK online shop that, you know, you order, but they're not available in your retail shops yet. Now, I do know they're officially out in 2019, but that, you know, I'm kind of rambling a bit now. But another QC issue with Sideswipe here is that this doesn't tab down. Now, it's not the end of the world because it doesn't like flop open too badly. It's not, but basically there's a little slot there and just a little tab. Where is it? Just a little tab there, and that's supposed to click into place. It doesn't. You push it in as much as you want. It just doesn't tab in. The paint, for the most part, is actually pretty good. There is a bit of blue paint, which I'm assuming is what they used for the eyes, that got onto his kind of ear here, as you can see on his right ear. But yeah, it's such a shame about these, because this Siege line had got so much potential. I thought, and I'd heard other people say, you know, they are a bit better quality, they're not too bad, and, you know, and that sort of thing. And I was hoping so much that they were going to be better, but they really are cheap. I mean, if you look at this Micromaster here, I forget his name actually. I know the other one's called Swindler that comes with this guy, but I forget this one's name off the top of my head. But look, you've just got the cheap pegged on wheels, and I know they're only small, but they feel incredibly light. And I just really hoped that these were going to be something different. You know, now that Hasbro and Takara are putting both their names on the boxes, and the boxes look really good, and I don't know, I was really hoping for something spectacular with these, but Hasbro don't seem to be learning their lesson as far as Transformers are concerned. Another thing as well, they don't seem to be putting as much care into when they make them in the factory, because can you see, it works fine, this Micro Mastery works fine, but like, I don't know if you can see that on this leg here, just in there, on that joint, there's a load of stress marks. Now that's not anything I've done, and basically what, from looking at it, what I can't really show you on camera, but when they've put this leg into place and then put the pin through, they've drilled the hole through that piece in there at a slight angle, so when they've put the pin through, it's not quite lined up properly, and it's caused it to, you know, push against this piece here, and it's caused this stress mark along here. Now it does bend, you know, it's not loose or anything, it does work, but that's just, that again, it's a little nitpick to show just the lack of care that is actually put into the Transformers these days. You can see that the difference between that leg and this leg here. It still works, still transforms, everything pegs in, he works fine, but that's just a little slight issue that I've had with that figure as well. So yeah, I mean, the only figures that I've got and had with no problems, so I've had Cog, he's got a few QC issues, forgivable, granted, they're forgivable. The Sideswipe issue, not really forgivable, with the legs being glued too much into place. The Skytread that I'm having to send back. The only decent figures that I've really got that I've had no problems with is Hound. Here, Hound's decent enough. Again, the quality of the plastic is slightly improved to that of Titan's Return and Power of the Primes, etc. The Battle Patrol in Top Shot and Flak, they seem to be okay. And interestingly, their tiny little wheels are actually pinned on. Now, why they can't do... you know, that is kind of necessary for them because they are really tiny. But why they can't pin all the wheels on for all the characters is beyond me. I don't get it. Lionizer or Leonizer, I got him. He was fine. And Blowpipe, the Target Master, he seems fine. But really, my luck with Transformers recently hasn't been that great. I mean, I've bought a few figures over the past few months, and I've had a lot of QC issues and a lot of problems, and some of them to the point where they're non-functional, like the Skytread, where I couldn't fix it whatsoever. But my point is, you shouldn't have to spend like £20 or, I don't know, $20, whatever you might be, whatever your currency. You shouldn't be having to spend a fortune on a Transformers figure and have to start fixing things yourself. It's just, you just shouldn't have to do that. They should put more care into making sure these things don't happen. Now, yeah, fair enough. One or two Transformers every year with a few QC issues like this, with the legs not moving, you're going to get faulty products. That's just unavoidable. But out of everything I've bought, like Lego and, you know, just everything that I've got, toy-wise, Transformers have been the most notorious and most atrocious for having something wrong with them. It's ridiculous, and the price of it's not like they're getting any cheaper either. The quality's going down, and the price is going up, and it's such a shame because this Siege line, saw the pictures for them, and I was kind of like, oh, these look like the best set ever, you know, excluding G1. G1's its own kind of super marvelous thing in its own way, but since G1, you know, like we've had Energon, Armada, Transformers Cybertron, Robots in Disguise, Transformers Animated, you know, they're some of the ones in recent times, Transformers Beast Wars. And since those, I thought this Siege line might just be my favourite out of all of them. But unfortunately, it's not. And that is down to the quality of the product and the QC issues I've had. And it is such a shame. I don't know whether it's just me, whether I've been super unlucky with Transformers, but I find it hard to believe that I've had so many Transformers in the past this year, and for, I don't know, maybe 50% of those Transformers to have got something wrong with them, that where I've had to kind of do something myself to fix it, or to send them back and get a refund or a replacement. It's not good, and it's not. It doesn't. You know, there's no love put into these from Hasbro, and that's kind of the impression I get, and that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't feel like they're putting in enough love into the things they're making. You know, the design is there. The fact that they've made this Siege line, the whole concept is fantastic. Like I say, I love the concept of the Siege line. However, the execution is not great. Like I said, the plastic quality has gone up slightly since Titan's Return and Combiner Wars, but there are just these things that they seem to coat them in glue, and they seem to mess up the paint more than they used to. I don't know, there's just something about them. I mean, the plastic quality is not as good as it used to be by any means, but it has slightly improved since such as Titan's Return and what have you. But yeah, so that's just my little rant about the new Siege line. I hope if you have bought some of these Siege line figures, I hope you've had better luck than I have with them. But overall, I don't know. If you happen to get a figure and you're really pleased with it, I'm happy for you. But for me, it's a real disappointment. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I've been ranting on about stuff in this video. But yeah, I just kind of had to get my point across about what I felt about these new Transformers toys and the Transformers toys in general. I mean, the Cyberverse line that they brought out. Now I realise that they're aimed for kids, but those figures from that line looked absolutely atrocious. I'm sorry, but the figures from that line looked shocking. They looked horrible. Now, like I say, I realise they are aimed more towards kids, and the Siege line here are aimed more towards collectors. I get that, but I just can't. I'm just not getting the love through from Hasbro for these toys. I'm just not feeling it. So, yeah, that's my video. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry you've had to listen to me go on and on, but I had to get my view across, had to get my opinions out there. Let me know what you think of the Siege line, and tell me if you've had any problems with Transformers in recent years. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't. There's probably going to be a lot of thumbs down, to be honest. That's kind of unavoidable. I had to get my point across here, and how I feel. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye for now.